Welcome back to Real Agenda Radio with me, Tom Burgess. Now, here on Real Agenda Radio, you'll find podcasts that seek to resolve the inequality and the unnecessary hardship in the world, because that is the real agenda. Now, today we're going to talk about which of the two main parties is Conservative. Or look at it another way, which party, or which of maybe the three main parties, or all the parties, is actually progressive and more likely to bring the change that's so desperately needed. Now, this episode is part of our From Here to Prosperity series, where we address the issues that are highlighted in my book, which was indeed called From Here to Prosperity, in which I proposed an agenda for progressive prosperity. The book's published by Shepherd Walwyn and is available from all good traditional and online bookstores, as well as from www.fromheretoprosperity.org. So on with today's show. The headline in the Times newspaper this week reads, well, it's not really a newspaper because I read it online, but, in the Times this week reads, Labour won't hammer the rich with a wealth tax, vows Rachel Reeves, who's the Shadow Chancellor. And Rachel rules out imposing a mansion tax, raising capital gains tax, or increasing a top rate of income tax. Well, actually, only one of these policy points is a tax on wealth, and that's mansion tax, which is a higher rate council tax on very expensive houses, and a very lazy way of trying to bring some reform to the outdated and unfair council tax system. The other two taxes are really taxes on income. See, capital gains tax is actually a tax on the income from wealth, and it seems really surprising that a potential Labour government would not correct this anomaly and make the rate of income from wealth higher so that it's the same rate as the tax on income from wealth. Sorry, not from wealth, from work. The current situation is helping the rich get richer, and it's actually shifting the tax burden to those with lower incomes. Now, there's constant confusion amongst the media and politicians about tax. It get all lumped together as just tax. But taxes on income and taxes on wealth are different. They have different results, different benefits. Now, income tax is clearly tax on income, which is normally collected by companies on behalf of the government. And Oxford professor Danny Dorlin, speaking on Real Agenda Radio some time back, was in favour of increasing taxes on higher incomes as a deterrent for paying high salaries. But as he said, such a move doesn't really generate significant funds. So the headlines that we see do not really give an accurate picture of the real situation or the potential answers. And it's the answers that are important. It's very easy to talk about what the problems are, but we need answers, and we'll be addressing that later in this show. Rachel Reeves goes on, says, I don't see the way to prosperity as being through taxation. Clearly she's not read my book. She uses it to swipe at the government by saying the tax burden is at its highest in 60, maybe 70 years. There have been 24 tax rises in the 13 years of the Conservative government. Once again, politicians and media are lumping the taxes together. There's a big difference between taxes on income and taxes on wealth. See, taxes on income take earned income away from those who have earned it, earned from their work, and therefore it can lead to more poverty and hardship for lower earners, because many of whom are not earning enough to live on or support their families. Whereas taxes on wealth cause no hardship, as by the nature of the term, those affected already have enough to live on. Rachel goes on and says, I don't see a route towards having more money for public services. That is through taxing our way there. It's going to be through growing our way there. And that's why policies that we've set out are all about how we encourage business, big and small, to invest in Britain. She sees economic growth as the answer. But there's a key word missing here, and that's inclusive. Inclusive growth for the sake of it. Growth for the sake of it? No. But growth that benefits all and protects the planet can be good. But as we know, traditionally growth is measured by the GDP, but it makes the poor poorer and the rich richer. So unless there's some radical policies to rectify this, the same problems will continue. It's another example of politicians not really being authentic, or not doing the right thing, and they put in party first over the majority, who are struggling to make ends meet. Effectively, we now have two parties with the same economic policies, none of which will bring significant benefit, because they're too scared to stand up to the truth. The politicians are too scared to stand up to the truth, and this won't bring, benefit to the majority of people. What has happened is that the narrative to the electorate, it needs changing, because we've been sold an old, out-of-date narrative that does not reflect the wishes of the people. The Labour Party appears to be pandering to the trickle-down effect. If the rich get richer, then some of it will trickle down to the poor people, which has time and time again been shown not to work. A Times leader on the same day suggests that Labour's move is smart politics. Well, smart to help Labour into power, but not smart as it puts the party over people, and it's not smart for the nation. And at the same time, across at the Independent, I don't know whether you call it a newspaper now, but anyway, the Independent media outlet, the story goes, top economists have piled pressure on Keir Starmer, the Labour leader, to break the Tory spending plans amid anxiety over Labour's policy direction if it wins the next election. In this letter to Keir Starmer, which has been seen by the Independent, 70 prominent academics say they are concerned at the party's programme for government and warn that failing to reverse cuts would deepen the poverty and the hardship that many are already facing. Signatories to this letter include Professors Kate Pickett and Richard Wilkinson, the authors of the influential book The Spirit Level, which told informed speeches by Ed Miliband when he was Labour leader. And The Spirit Level, those of you that have read it or come across it, shows the correlation between the levels of high inequality and bad social outcomes. If we reduce inequality, we will improve social outcomes, and they're directly related. Also on the list is of people that have signed this letter is Professor Ruth Lister, CBE, a Labour peer and an emeritus professor of social policy at Loughborough University, as well as a member of the all-party parliamentary group on compassionate politics. The letter says, we, the undersigned, are concerned that your current economic programme, remember here they're writing to Keir Starmer at the Labour Party, for government will not transform the economic orthodoxy that has made this country poorer, less cohesive and more unequal than 15 years ago, the letter says. The maintenance or extension of cuts in the current economic climate will only serve to deepen the poverty and hardship that many are already facing. We believe, and this is the signatures of the letter, that it's the duty of the opposition to, where necessary, present an alternative vision for the future when it comes to economics. Economists urge the opposition to move away from an out-of-date, economically and socially destructive approach towards a model that improves well-being, works in alignment with our environment, and achieves social justice. They warn failure to table an alternative will mean not only wasting that opportunity, but many lives and futures as well. Asked to respond to this letter, a Labour spokesman told The Independent the party would have to make some tough choices. Kate Pickett said, we need our next government to have a clear vision to protect and promote the well-being of both people and planet. Our new economic models based on social rights are there to underpin an attractive and feasible future for the UK. This letter says reversing benefit cuts and raising spending on public services would help not just reduce poverty but also benefit the wider economy, providing a sturdy backbone to the household finances. That would in turn stimulate growth, which has been at the core of Labour's rhetoric. Now, the opposition has said that the day-to-day spending will be completely covered by taxes and that the party will get debt as a share of the economy falling by the end of the next parliament. Jennifer Nadel, co-director of the think tank Compassion in Politics, which organised the letter, told The Independent, now is a unique opportunity for change. The public have seen through adversity. An election is on the horizon. Labour, and indeed every party's mission, must be to show bravery and ambition in articulating a new and better vision for the future of the economy and our country. So, we have a problem. The two main parties appear to offer no difference in economic policies. That will lead us out of the cycle of the poor getting poorer and the rich getting richer, while the majority of the country is struggling to make ends meet. Now, apart from bold and visionary, well-constructed policies, the answer is to change the narrative about economic policy. It's not inevitable that most of the country should be struggling. There is more to life than growing GDP. It's about human happiness, well-being, opportunity, equality, and protecting the planet. It's not really about taxes at all. Those that have accumulated excessive wealth need to return some of that to the public purse, because we all helped create the wealth, and indeed the public purse helped them to create the wealth as well. This is the wealthy. Yet, the money we earn from the time we work, we should keep more of it. That way, the rich will still be rich, but the poor and those struggling will be much better off, not just financially. Indeed, all humans could be happier. So now that the two main parties are clearly economically conservative, how do we get politicians that are economically enlightened or even progressive? Could there be a new party that is social democratic? As some of you may be aware, we've been there before, but data shows that social democratic countries are the happiest. A lot of those are Nordic countries. So maybe it could happen here in the UK again soon. Or it could be that a new grouping across all parties. So those that want to see a more compassionate and just society might join a new grouping which would have some influence on all parties. Anyway, we'll certainly be covering more on this on Real Agenda Radio, because that is the Real Agenda. What do you think? Do contact us on info@realagendaradio.org or Twitter, at RealAgendaNet, or via our website, realagendaradio.org. We'd love to hear your views. If you'd like a copy of my book, From Here to Prosperity, A New Political Agenda for a Sustainable Economy and Greater Social Justice, go to FromHereToProsperity.org or to any good booksellers. You can follow me, Tom Burgess, on Instagram, TomBurgess2709, where I post info related to Real Agenda Radio and the campaigning work I'm involved with. I haven't been posting much recently, but I'm going to catch up soon. So for more information, realagendaradio.org. You can listen and subscribe to Real Agenda Radio on Amazon, Apple Podcasts, Google and Spotify, and many more, where you'll find a range of podcasts for positive change. One thing is certain, people want to see change to a more compassionate and just society, as well as more courageous politicians prepared to do the right thing for people over party. It's not happening, but it can. It's urgent, and it's up to us to make it happen. That's the Real Agenda. I'm Tom Burgess. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.